Amigos, we bet you're feeling more and more confident every day learning Spanish. You've probably learnt that words ending in A are feminine, words ending in O are masculine. Easy. And then suddenly you hear words like el problema or la mano, and you're like, wait. What? These words are breaking the gender rules.
Okay, amigos, by the end of this episode, you'll be able to understand exactly why Spanish sometimes breaks the gender rules and how to deal with it as a beginner. All right, let's do it.
Welcome to Spanglish Friends, the podcast for true beginner Spanish learners.
Hola, amigos. I'm Val, your experienced Spanish teacher and co-host from Venezuela.
And I'm Em, your Australian co-host who's been learning Spanish for 10 years.
We'll help you get confident listening and speaking beginner Spanish with content you can actually use in real-life conversations.
Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on socials at Spanglish_friends. Let's get started.
Comencemos.
Hello and welcome back, Spanglish friends. Bienvenidos. If this is your first time, welcome to our global community of Spanish learners and welcome back to all of our friends.
Hola, amigos, y bienvenidos a nuestro episodio 58. Wow, 58 episodes of learning Spanish together every week.
Yes, and today we are talking about something every beginner learner struggles with, and that is the genders, los géneros in Spanish, okay? In fact, after 10 years of learning Spanish, this is still something that I struggle with the most, and Profe Val can attest to this. I wish I had an episode like this explaining to me why Spanish sometimes breaks the rules when I was just starting out.
Don't worry, Em, it's not just you. It's super common for beginners when they start their Spanish journey. So today, we want to help you with this. You've probably heard the rule, words ending in A are feminine and words ending in O are masculine. This is the general rule that Spanish actually has.
Yes, and whilst that's often true, it's not always true. It's like the I before E after C in English, okay? It doesn't always work. This is where confusion starts. There's always exceptions to the rule. And I did a bit of research, Prof. Val. It's estimated up to 20% of words, so 1 in 5 words that you will encounter in Spanish don't necessarily follow that gender rule of ending in A, it's feminine, and ending in O, it's masculine.
Wow, 1 out of 5 words. Pretty good. But you're serious beginner learners now, friends. And you're probably like Em, you want to learn why. Okay? Why? What's the reason behind this word breaking the rules?
Yes. So today's episode is not about memorizing all the different types of exceptions that they are. We're simply explaining to you why they exist. Because more likely than not, there is a reason. In fact, we're going to help you change your mindset when you encounter words like this and help you to recognize that there are 3 type of exception categories. So you don't get all frustrated like I did when I was starting out learning. And these exceptions exist due to the origins of words, shortening of words, or pronunciation.
That's right. And first, as always, we love to put everything into una conversación pequeña. So Em and I are going to have a mini conversation. This one is a fun one where we explore when the gender rule is broken in Spanish. Then we're going to break it down everything afterwards.
Let's do it. I feel the emotions already. Are you ready, Profe Val?
Vamos, amiga, estoy lista. Comencemos. Amiga, Em, el problema es difícil.
Wait. Espera. ¿El problema? Shouldn't it be la problema?
No. It's el problema.
What? That's confusing because it ends in A. I've also heard people say things like la mano, the hand.
Yes. Sí. La mano is feminine, even though it ends in O. We have to say la mano.
Wait, what? Why is this? I'm so lost, Profe Val.
Amiga, don't worry. No te preocupes. Just remember, it's el problema because the solution, la solución, is from las mujeres, from women.
So the problem is masculine Because the solution is feminine? Women must be the solution.
We are. That's just a joke, people say. The real reason is history. These words come from Latin and kept their original gender from all those many years ago.
So that's why it's el problema. So it's not meaning, it's the origin of the word. I finally understand.
That was a fun mini chat we wanted to have between Em and I. Now let's break everything down you need to know, friends, to understand when genders break in Spanish.
So the basic rule, we know it. For example, la casa, the house, it's feminine. El libro, the book, is masculine. El vestido, the dress, because it ends in O, it's a masculine word.
It works most of the time, all right? But not always, because Spanish isn't based only on spelling, all right? It's based also in history and evolution of our language.
So instead of thinking, friends, when you encounter a word, why is this wrong? Why does it not follow the gender rule? We want you to change your mindset. Instead, ask yourself, where does this word come from? Because this will help alleviate frustrations, trust me, and help explain the why. It's going to save you from going mad learning Spanish.
Exactamente. The first category is origin, the history of how the word came to exist in Spanish, in our language.
See, some words from Spanish come from Latin, and they keep their original gender from Latin, even if they end in an A, for example. This is common in Spanish with words ending in MA, in ma.
These words, even though they end in A, they are all masculine words. El problema, the problem. El sistema, the system. El tema, the topic. El programa, the program. El clima, the weather. El idioma, the language.
That's right. So they are all masculine words, but because from Latin they were either masculine or in Latin they also have neutral words, words that don't have a gender as well. These words retain their masculine gender in Spanish.
Now, some words are borrowed from other languages. Spanish borrowed words from English and other languages as well. I often think, for example, of the word la cookie.
La cookie. This is very Spanglish. Now, cookie is an English word, but in Spanish, it was traditionally known as galleta, las galletas, the cookies. So when we're using this Spanglish word of cookie, it became la cookie because it's based on la galleta. So the history, the origin of that word.
Normally we say galleta, but the youth, these new generations are using, quiero las cookies. I want the cookies, for example. I use for rule, foreigner loanwords, like those borrowed words from English, are more often than not masculine by default. For example, email, we could say el email. Marketing, we would say el marketing. Football, we would say el fútbol.
Nice. Okay, so now we know one of the exceptions is the history, the origin of the word. Let's dive into the second category of exceptions, and that's shortened words that keep the original word's gender.
Think of the word la app, which comes from the word aplicación, application, and we would say la aplicación, but if we want to add a shorten, we would say la app, and that's why it stays feminine.
Another example, friends, is la moto. You might have heard this is the motorbike. Now, that's a shortened form of the word motocicleta. La motocicleta. So the shortened form la moto keeps that la. It's still feminine.
Another common examples could include la tele. La tele is a shortened word that comes from la televisión. La foto, if we say the full word, would be la fotografía. It's a feminine word by like the whole word by itself. La fotografía. And if we add a shorten, la foto.
That's right. So in these examples, even if the word is shortened, the gender doesn't change. It retains the gender that the original full word had.
Now, the third category is pronunciation, like el agua. You would expect to say la agua, but it's not. And this is because Spanish avoids two strong A sounds together. So it becomes el agua. We try to avoid this E or E sound in our words.
Yeah, like it's hard. It would be hard to say la agua, like it sounds like one word versus two. So in Spanish, they change it to el agua. But water, the word agua, is still feminine. So you would say, for example, el agua fría, not el agua frío, which is really confusing because it's still retaining the female gender even though they put an L at the start. This is a very rare exception category, but it happens.
That's right. And this is the exception of the exception. So we have just a few of them. For example, el alma, which means the soul. El hada, the fairy. If we want to move that into the plural form, it would be las almas, the souls. Las hadas, the fairies. The el is only for sound, not meaning. They keep their gender.
Wow, friends, this is an absolute mind-boggling episode. And we learned a lot in researching for this as well. But here's what you need to know, friends, your quick recap. Words ending in A in Spanish are mostly feminine, 4 out of 5 times, and those ending in O are masculine, 80% of the time. But exceptions do exist, and you're going to encounter them, and they exist because of history, the origin of the word, borrowing words from different languages like English, and sometimes in those rare cases because of pronunciation, it's weird to keep certain letters together. So we've explored examples like el problema, la moto, and el agua.
There are a few of them, but super important to understand the reason why. And the key takeaway is you won't always know why immediately. If you are curious, like M has always been, don't ask why it is wrong. Change your mindset to asking, what's the history here? What's the history behind this word? Is it borrowed from English? Is it Latin origin? Is it shortened word? Or is it just because of the pronunciation?
And it's okay to be unsure, friends. I promise that you will learn the best through exposure. So the more you practice, the more you will learn about the real genders of words. And don't worry, I still get them wrong to this very day.
It comes with practice. Your challenge for this week's amigos, write one word in the comments that confused you with a gender. In Spanish, for example, you could say el agua, el problema, or la mano.
Yes, we want the chisme. We want to know which words have tripped you up in the past so our other Spanglish friends can learn from them in the comments as well. So remember, failure is just a first attempt in learning after all. So comment or DM us on Instagram. We love seeing your progress and we'd love to be able to give you a shout out in an upcoming episode.
See, speaking of awesome stuff and an awesome shout out, this week's shout out goes to our friend Mega from England.
Yes, and Megan commented saying, Hola, me llama Megan, tengo 28 años, I'm 28 years old, soy de Inglaterra, I'm from England, I live close to London, I live with my husband and our cat called Dee. Excellent sentences in Spanish, and a special shout out to your cat Dee. They are officially our first Spanglish friend pet supporter, so thank you to both you and your cat for being part of our community.
I love this, me encanta. And remember, friends, even when Spanish breaks the rule, you're still improving every day. Spoiler alert for next week's episode. It's Mother's Day around the world, and we're going to teach you expressions, how to express your love to your mom, how to celebrate this special day with her, all in Spanish.
Have the best week, friends. We'll catch you then.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for listening to Spanglish, friends. We're both so proud of the time you're investing to level up your Spanish skills.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, follow us, leave a rating, or tell a friend about the show. It helps our awesome community grow.
Join fellow beginner Spanish learners by following us on Instagram and TikTok at Spanglish_friends.
Congratulations on taking another step in your Spanish learning journey.
Hasta la próxima, amigos.